That's what we call it industrial hemp. If we want the world to take it seriously, we need to do something serious industrially speaking. Otherwise, this is a joke. No one trusts the hemp industry. First of all, because they think hemp is cannabis and we're doing drugs.
Mhm.
I have a friend. I explained him at least 25 times the difference between hemp and cannabis. And every time he calls me, I think he does that on purpose. He calls me, how is the cannabis guy doing?
So you've been mining crypto. It'll be
I've
a
been
second we'll catch on and get on anyway.
okay. So I've been in cryptocurrency for long before everybody knew about crypto. As a matter of fact, the mining facility that I had, my wife didn't know nothing for almost 8 months. So
Okay.
I was making money, but at the beginning I thought this is like monopoly money. It's not real. I cannot believe this. Until I start spending the money, I was like, so this is real. It's working. So what I was telling you is about that. These guys, I saw the people right why people were losing too much money on every single area is because greed happened. I saw this guy. He was a lawyer, and he lost $5 million. Believe it or not. He thought he was buying crypto with a 10% discount. Of course, it was amazing because he thought, oh, come on, I put $5 million, then I sell it immediately on the exchange and I make 10% profits in one day. And the only thing they ask him is to send 10% of the value of the coins. Once he gets the 10%, he will get the coins of the Bitcoin. And of course, he never got it. Lost
Yeah.
$500,000. What happened over there? Greed. So what happened with the farmers, we were talking previous to going live, is what happened with the farmers that lost a lot of money? Greed happened. They were making maybe $300, $500 per acre on tobacco or cotton or whatever. They were soy, whatever. And so-called expert came and told them, oh, we're going to be doing this much. You're going to be making $50,000 per acre. And greed happened. And they jumped in. Um, at the beginning, yes, at the beginning, people were making money. I always say, I sold kilos of crude oil, Mandy. Believe it or not, $16,000. The same kilo of crude oil that right now people are selling for 100, 120, $150.
Yeah.
The same, but of course, when I did that, I bought biomass for $135 per pound. Biomass, $135. Right now, people are paying $1.50, $2 for biomass. So yes, you were making that much money, yes, but the issue is people need to understand that economics, every single area, you cannot continue growing and growing and growing and go up forever. So one of my master's degree is operations research, which is econometrical models. So when I saw the acreage growing from 6,000 in the country to 8,000 to 16,000, and then I saw 25,000, I thought we need better equipment. We need equipment that can process 10,000 pounds. When I was talking about equipment to process 10,000 pounds, people were telling me, you're crazy. Who is going to be needing? I said, you don't see the trend. It's coming from here and it's going up like this. So there's no, of course, when I was telling that, and then the next year we did 75,000 acres in the whole country, everybody was thinking, yeah, maybe. Then we went to 546,000 acres. That was last year, and it was just stupid crazy. But that's what happened. Greed happened. Everybody thought they were going to be making a killing, and the so-called experts, they were just, I don't know how to say it, just the scammers. The scammers. That's what they were wearing. Selling seeds that none of them were feminized or they were not propagated. I mean, it was just a quick a scheme just to make money quick, and it was sad. Bunch of farmers, they really need it.
And it's those, we kind of talked earlier about the brokers, the joker brokers, right? And I feel like that really, whether it's their fault or not, this chain that was created to pass products back and forth created a lot of greed and a lot of loss. How about that?
Yeah, I think it's always our responsibility if we lose money, because when we are presented with an investment or an idea or a project, we, the investors, or we, the ones involved in the project, we need to do our due diligence. Unfortunately, the farmers are all farmers that they barely know how to use a touch screen phone, because they use the ugly phones that they use. So I know they were the target, because all of them were presented, pay me this much and you're going to make me this much money. But I saw investors, apparently smart people. A year ago, someone was trying to buy extraction equipment from us, and he told me, I wish I had found you before, because we paid almost $3 million for getting an extraction equipment that we should have gotten 9 months ago, and we haven't got nothing yet. It's not only farmers. These guys, people with money, they built the building, they built the facility, they paid $3 million in advance to this extraction company, and they have gotten nothing.
Do you think that a lot of it from COVID and the supply chain, or do you think it's oversold? Do you think it was a bad sell, an overpromise and underdeliver, or do you really think that it's a supply chain concern now that COVID is, or both?
No, right now, honestly, the prices were not down because of COVID. The prices came down because of the supply that we have out there. I mean, everybody was growing hemp and everybody was extracting, and then the prices went down, as I told you.
Yes.
I was selling kilos of crude oil, 16,000, 12,000, 8,000. Even at the beginning of last year, the price was close to $2,500 per kilo. That was amazing. But of course, as soon as all the biomass was processed, then the price went down because of the oversupply. And of course, there's always bad actors. I know a company in Colorado, in Denver, that they were promising the farmers a 70-30 split, meaning 70% for the farmer, 30% for the facility. All the farmers were happy. All of them were bringing their mass. But at the end, none of the farmers got paid because the facility was promising a bunch. And then they took free biomass, not big, but they are medium-sized, large-scale facility. So they were selling kilos of crude oil for $750, $600. And they didn't care, because how much did the biomass cost them? Zero, nothing, because they basically stole the biomass from the farmers. And there's other people over there, trying to recover their costs. They were selling their kilo of crude oil for whatever, because they just wanted as much money as they could to recover their losses. Now we're seeing the prices stabilizing, maybe going a little bit up, but only the facilities that are providing better specs. They are GMP facilities and stuff like that you can differentiate from the other guys, just crude oil, or distillate, or they went into CBG and stuff like that. I don't think it's COVID. It's just...
Okay, so I welcome everybody who's listening still. I've seen a lot of people pop on and off, but I feel like I'm pretty lucky today having you on, Vini, because you're definitely, you've got a lot of experience in the industry. And, I talk a lot about who I interview and why, and value you bring is purely education. And so I want to thank you very, very much for sharing and sharing what you're doing. Questions, don't hesitate to jump in and ask any questions. We can get Vini to ask or hopefully answer some. Any Vini that you don't want to address or talk about, don't worry about. We can get over them. Mondays are typically slower, so we'll see what happens. But a little bit about yourself and introduce yourself. We jumped into kind of talking about Bitcoin and where you've been, but what are you currently doing and who are you working with? Or I guess what's the name of the company now?
Okay, so now we are, as I told you, I get bored really easy, so I like challenges. So I always work in two things at the same time. When I was coming out of cryptocurrency doing mining, as a matter of fact, I created the first, well, not create, me and a couple of friends, we created the first blockchain and crypto mining association in the US. I served on the board for a couple of years. When I was coming out of that, I was looking into something else. I was looking at CBD oil and hemp, but that's why I did my extraction facility. We did that. Now what I'm doing is Forex. Forex is just we can make money. Well, in my case, for the majority of brokers, it's just another way to lose their own money. I believe in data. So I never made a decision that is not involved on proper data. So one of my master's degrees, operations research. So we created a robot does the trades for us. And I've been posting from time to time the results, and couple of people have been connecting with me because they want to hear about that. So Global Hemp Solutions, we provide equipment for CBD oil, for fiber and stuff like that. We have clients in Asia, China, Malaysia, Europe, here in the States and South America. And on the Forex, we haven't gone public yet. It's just the company is going to be Brokers Holdings. The idea is to create a hedge fund to manage this through Forex. And we are, believe it or not, we're doing between 25 to 35% profits on a monthly basis. August was our best month so far. We got 104% profits in 1 month. So we doubled our money in August.
Absolutely incredible. So tell me about size of facilities that you guys have been building. When we talk size, I'm from Utah, right? And I think Utah has a pretty good market in the sense of manufacturing. I mean, we've got thousands of MLMs, we've got lots of distribution opportunities. But when we talk Utah scale compared to scale, what are some of the size facilities that people are actually operating when it comes to extraction or and then fiber? I feel like they're two different types of facilities. Yeah. So
the CBD oil, the majority of systems that we promote we call it the 1,500 liters. Basically, people can process 11,000 pounds per day, running 24/7. We always promote that system because they say, I don't want to go 10,000 pounds a day. I want to do 3,000 pounds, 4,000 pounds a day. And I say, that's amazing. But if you want to do that on an 8-hour cycle, you have to have a system that is extremely bigger. So we promote that one because if they want to do 3,000, 4,000 pounds a day, they work 5, 6, 7 hours. And within that period, they're done. They have all the extraction done. And as soon as they keep growing, so they go to a second shift or a third shift. And that's when we call it medium large size. So they're really industrial hemp facilities. The biggest system is what we call it the 25 tons. So 55,000 pounds per day. A day. And that's
output. I understand like product in is product out. What's an output of something like that?
It will be rough depending on the kind of biomass that you have. Right now, we have a client that is having a 16% plus potency on the biomass once it's dry. And now he's getting, for every 21, 22 pounds, he's getting a kilo of crude oil that is coming out at roughly 73, 74, 75% potency.
That's significantly better than what I saw last year. A lot of facilities I saw are looking at an average of 40 to 50, 45 pounds dry biomass for 1 liter. And it's 60, obviously product in, product out, but you're talking half the start product or biomass.
There's too many factors. Maybe the first one is the biomass that they have has very low potency. That's one thing. The other thing is, that's why we promote the separators as well. If you put the stalks and the stems and the seeds on the extraction, then you're wasting time. The way I like to describe it is like you put your washers and you put your clothes and you throw a couple bricks. The bricks are just making noise and wasting the spaces, but because you're not going to be able to extract anything from the bricks or washing. In this case, when you put the stalks and the stems and the seeds, when you do an extraction with CBD oil with ethanol, you're getting nothing. But you're washing those with the ethanol, you're going to be cleaning it, you're going to be filtering the color, the chlorophyll. So that's one thing. The other thing is the potency of the biomass that they have. The majority are doing this. Some of the guys, they took the flour, the best flour that they can find, they send it to the labs, and they don't send it to one, so to 2 or 3 labs. And honestly, sad to say it, but the labs are like prostitutes. You just pay me. I'll do whatever you say. You want to say 12%, 13%, I'll say it because they want the money. It's sad. So the farmers are shopping around trying to find out who is giving it the best. And
it's like doctor shopping.
Yes.
It's like going to the doctor to find the diagnosis you're looking for, right?
Yes.
What do you see as far as solutions to fix that? I mean, I see the labs, the standardization of lab testing as being something that's so critical for the growth or the industry. What's your opinion there?
People are going to hate me for what I'm saying right now. I'm going to say it right now, but we don't like regulation, but we need it. So when the labs now in Florida, you have to be a DEA approved lab in order to do that. I think we need those things. because if we are not able to self-regulate, we need someone else to regulate our facilities and say, this is the testing, this is the way it needs to be done. Otherwise, there's no credibility,
Well, then we run into the exact problems we have been. We keep bumping into this, like I said, product being sold fraudulently, basically, right? I'm labeling it as a 15% CBD or a 75% within the crude oil or a distillate, and really it's not.
When I was doing the extraction, Mandy, I'm sorry to interrupt you. When I was doing extraction, I didn't care about the COAs. I was always telling them, listen, I'm going to buy 25, 50,000, 75,000, whatever you have. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over there and grab 500 pounds, different super stacks and stuff like that. I'm going to do my extraction. And based on the results that I have, I will make you an offer on your biomass. I don't care what your COA says. I don't care about nothing. Because the issue is this, Mandy. All the sellers lie, all of them. Do your due diligence. Don't trust anyone because they are lying to you.
Okay, so I was given a year ago, my very first cannabis event. I walked around and I said, hey, I'm new to this industry and I know nothing. Tell me something you know. And 2 people within the first hour said, everybody thinks they know everything. Just ask them. And don't trust anybody because everybody thinks they know everything. Everybody thinks theirs is the best or right. And I think that that's true. Even as I started to dive into understanding extraction, and especially on the consumer side, you get a lot of these people that are pushing products for MLMs or pushing products for someone else that really don't understand how it was made or where the product came from or anything like that. And it really is, they go straight to the sale instead of educating and really understanding why are you putting that in your body and why is that product better than somebody else's. And then on the ingredient side, just like you said, go ahead.
I was saying that I did this in 2 conferences. I challenged every single one that was selling products and say, let me do a test, because we have a friend that he had a mobile testing facility. So I said, let me do a test on your products. And because you're saying here that you have 100 milligrams or you have this potency or stuff like that. So 70% of the people that they agree, 70% of them, their products were under whatever they said. I think it was 50% of them has less than half of what they promised. And it was like 22, 23% of them have zero cannabinoids. Zero, Mandy. Zero cannabinoids on their products. That's what people were buying. So I always say, trust no one, because they are lying. They are out there just trying to get your money. Oh,
yeah. Tana says it right. She said, if I had $5 for every time I've heard I've got the best, I'd be rich.
That's what I told you.
It's exactly. But this is exactly it. And you're exactly right. I love the time. And I always tell people, especially somebody that's selling product, I don't want to hear that your best product. Everybody says that. Poor Vini and I'm in Wyoming. I have terrible service for anybody that's listening. And so I guess
people understand that this era,
great,
internet.
But, I do apologize. So Vini, tell me to where it is now. What do you see coming? And what do you see as far as changes with the DEs? And you hear me? Did you hear anything I said?
Yes,
no.
Yes, I heard.
I'm sorry.
So, no, I heard. So let me show you something before we change subject. I'm going to apologize.
Yeah.
I don't know if people can see that right there. This right here is a lab scale chromatography that I have on my desk. I don't know if you are watching this, Mandy, or did the connection got lost. So what I wanted to say is, hope you're listening, Mandy, or watching. What I wanted to say is, don't trust
I hear you.
one.
You're good.
No one. Do your due diligence. In my case, when we are telling people that our systems will extract 90, 95% of cannabinoids, is because we do our own tests. We do our tests on the biomass, we do the extraction, and then we do our tests on the results on the crude oil. So we know for a fact the percentage of cannabinoids that we are extracting from the biomass. For instance, we are installing a dryer as of today. Right this very moment, there's a dryer being installed. And what we did is we bought biomass from a farmer. We took it to a dryer. We did 7 tests. on the biomass before coming in. We dried the biomass on our dryer, and we did tests after the process, and we did the test, and we showed them tests on live. And I said, listen, not only we are not losing potency of the biomass, we are increasing on the COA. And people said, there's no way you can increase. And I told them, the reason why it looks increased is because now we are getting rid of the humidity. So there is no humidity on the biomass. That's why the potency of the cannabinoids is higher, is testing higher now than before was dry. But why we do it? Because I like facts. So that's why, with all confidence, Jeremy is my partner, is installing the dryer today. I'm not worried about he calling me and saying, man, there's something. We have tested our products. And that's something very important. All those things in the back are not just nice frames to collect. Those are frames because this is really sad. The majority of the labs that I've seen out there, and I have nothing against people that are smoking weed, nothing against them. I never smoked weed in my life, but I have nothing against them. But the issue is those labs are being running by the potheads. They were nice kids, they were doing stuff in the backyard or in their shed in the back or stuff like that. And they went into running facilities. Mm-hmm. They knew nothing about flow rates. They knew nothing about explosion proof or C1D1 rooms or stuff like that. They don't understand the science of a business. They understand how to do good weed. Yes. They know how to extract some cannabinoids. Yes. When you do it in your house, yes. But this is like if someone built a shed in their backyard, will you hire them to build your house? Hell no. Those guys don't just build a shed in the backyard. But that's different from building a house. And then some companies hire those guys that built a small shed in the backyard to build a building that is 7 or 8 stories. No, huge mistake. You need to hire people with industrial background, engineer background, chemical background. They need to know those things. And that's why you saw in California and Oregon and Colorado a bunch of fires and explosions because they had no idea how dangerous it was. They had no idea. And one thing is running at 300 and 400 pounds a day. When you move to 55,000 pounds, like the one that we promote that is continuous content flow, that's huge. Then you're talking about even dust or in the dryers. I'm not going to name the name of the company, but there's been a couple of lawsuits, and they are returning the money because they were selling dryers, hemp dryers that are not safe because the dust creates fires. They don't understand the science. So there was a bunch of fires. With the dryers, we have never had an issue whatsoever because we really understand the science. We even created a dryer, Mandi. When people were telling, we don't like those industrial dryers because you're going to lose cannabinoids because when you heat them off, it's going to be just way too high. And I told them, when you're walking on those farms, what's the smell that you hear? That's the cannabinoids evaporating once you pass 95 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's the temperature out there. Right. We can go at 115. So what we did is this, man. There is someone that was saying that he wanted to collect all the terpenoids and the flavonoids. So we did a dryer that is completely enclosed loop system, and we're doing evaporating. We're going to be evaporating the humidity, but we are going to be evaporating some of the flavonoids, some of the terpenoids, and some of the cannabinoids, yes. At the end, you have your dry biomass in a super sack, and then you have a jar on the other side with the terpenes and the flavonoids that we extracted from the evaporation of the humidity, and then you can infuse them later on. How can we do that? It's not because we're smarter than the other ones. No, it's just because we are using something that people already use in the oil industry. We're talking about petroleum. Those guys, they really know how to refine. They really know how to capture. This is just a chemical process. This is just very simple. And the mistake is that those guys, maybe they get out of high school, maybe, and that's it. So they don't understand the basic chemics. When we're talking about chromatography, they have no idea what a mass spectrometer is or a UV detector. So when we're talking about simulated moving bed or supercritical chromatography or high pressure liquid chromatography, they are like, how do you spell chromatography, Billy? Then when we're talking about those are CBD oil, then you go to fiber. And I don't want to sound like a prick arrogant, but the issue is this is industrial hemp, industrial, right? And people are doing fortification system that will process 1,000 pounds per hour. Our system, the one that we promote, will do 20,000 pounds per hour on fiber. But not only the cortification. The cortification is just one system, one step. So 20,000 pounds.
Can you do me a favor and break down either now or a little bit later, but what each of those processes are? Like, what is decortication? It's not something, when I say it, it's the same thing. People are like, huh? How do you spell that? What is that? And I try to explain it. But yeah, I think it would be awesome to kind of understand, like, from harvest to production of end product. I understand the CBD process very well, but the
fiber. This is very simple, but let me say something that in order to, before I lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
So we're doing 20,000 pounds of fiber facility process per hour. So you're talking about 78,000 acres, 88,000 acres in a year, running at 100% capacity. And it looks like big, but we're running at 100% capacity, doing 20,000 pounds per hour, it only requires 25,000 acres, only 25,000 acres. In Texas alone, 7 million acres of cotton. So 7 million acres of cotton, and the biggest facility in the world, the one that we promote, can process 25,000 acres a year. And we are doing 20,000 pounds per hour. When the people come and say industrial hemp with the cortication system that do 1,000 or 2,000 pounds an hour, please get out of here. This is not industrial. This is homemade decortication system. Please don't do that, because now it's not the potheads. It's just stupid people. You know, they don't know nothing. I'm sorry to be so blunt, honest, Manny, but they know nothing about industrial.
This is what I need, and this is what we need to hear. When we talk reality, I don't want to say this is not meant negative, but we get in this blinder, small mind mode that, well, nobody else is doing it, so what we're doing is the best, and so it's worth our time to do a 1,000, pound facility and it's not, and it's almost hurting, because again, how do you bring the products to mainstream if we have a bunch of these little tiny facilities that aren't operating? Companies like Levi or Patagonia that are currently using hemp in their textiles are not going to come on until they have fully vertically integrated and solutions.
I couldn't read the name of the person that beat the message later on. You say, I love this discussion. Precision crop details farmers to monitor crops with data. Yes, data, that's important. So thank you very much, David. So let me give you another example of why I need to discuss industrial hemp. The biggest facility in the world, 20,000 pounds per hour. If we take, that when you're doing that, you have long technical fiber that you can use for textile. You have short fiber that you can use for non-wovens. You have the hurd and then the dust. Talk about the hurd that is close to 55% of the end product. For every 100 pounds that you put the vial of straw, you're going to have 55 pounds of hurd. Talk about the hurd. You're talking about 44,000 tons of hurd coming out of the year of the biggest facility in the world. If we use it for horse bedding, we will be able to provide horse bedding for 88,000 horses. That's it. You know how many horses in the US? 10 million. So we will be providing the biggest facility in the world using the herd just to provide horse bedding, have enough material for only 100,000 horses. What about the 9.9 million horses out there? Okay. Not all the horses use the best bedding. Okay, let's talk about cat litter. Cheapest thing that you can use for herd. The cats use a lot less than the horses, so we can provide cat litter. The biggest facility in the world will provide cat litter for 200,000 cats. You know how many cats are in the US? 100 million and counting. At least that's the last statistic. Yeah. And then we are doing a 20,000 pounds per hour, and we are able to barely scratch on cat litter. And then the other guys wants to do a system with 2,000 or 3,000. Get out of here, please. If we want the rest of the world to consider this as an industrial hemp, we need to do the things the right way. We cannot do it small. And then now we're talking about process. When people use the cortication, the only thing they are doing is just separating the fibers from the herd. Once they have the herd here, because the way they're doing it, all the dust is in the herd. If you use it for hempcrete or hempwood, it will not bind properly because of the dust. So you're going to create a block that is going to be completely crumbled into pieces because the dust will not allow the lime to bind properly. If you use, but I'm not doing construction bedding, I'm doing horse bedding, like you say, okay, perfect. You know, all that dust, the horses is going to be smelling that, and it creates problems on the lungs. The cats cannot do that. remember, one of the beautiful thing of the hemp is hypoallergenic. But once you put the dust in the herb, it's not hypoallergenic anymore. So people doing those small systems, not only small enough, is not good. They're not doing it properly because in our system, imagine this, man, 20,000 pounds per hour, 40,000 square foot facility. You know how many people run that facility? We need one guy with a forklift putting the bales inside, and we need another guy with a forklift taking out the pellets already, put it in bags for the horn, the bales for the long fiber or the short fiber, and the dust already collected, pelletized. You can use it for biofuel. I mean, that's what we call it industrial hemp. If we want the world to take it seriously, we need to do something serious industrially speaking. Otherwise, this is just a joke. Why we're not building it? Let me give you an example. I talk to people that they build hemp houses. The herd that they need to do the hempcrete, they are paying close to 43, 45 cents per pound once it's here because they buy it from Europe, shipping costs, taxes, blah, 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 43, 45 cents. If you produce that herd here in the US, I'm going to go crazy over it. The cost to produce that here with our facility, 8 cents.
Okay, so I'm gonna second this because I've got a young lady that's in textiles right now, and she's buying hemp yarns from other country and shipping it in. And
meaning China, but you don't want to mention that name.
She's not in China actually,
okay.
And they're buying from Romania. It actually is hemp fabric. She's got third-party lab tests.
Yes.
The China import market for hemp disgusts me, to be honest. It's a pit in my stomach, and the number of Americans that are importing hemp fabric fraudulently, it's a sore spot for me. I mean, I could talk about this for an hour, but for her right now, it's something like, and don't quote me, but $26 a roll or a spool of yarn, and bringing it to the United States drops it below or just at $1, a little over $1. And same thing. So is it capital injection that we need, or what is it? What is it that we really need in the United States to bring this? Because like you said, it's clearly going to be cost effective. We have property and we have the land to grow. We have the capabilities. What's the holdup?
Trust. No one trusts the hemp industry. First of all, because they think hemp is cannabis and we're doing drugs. Mm-hmm. I have a friend. I explained him at least 25 times the difference between hemp and cannabis. And every time he calls me, I think he does that on purpose. He calls me, how is the cannabis guy doing? I'm not even waste my time. That's the first thing I'm going to say. People think that hemp is the same thing with cannabis and different things. So when it comes to fiber, the investors, what they see is this: Gentana, Medcan. There's other companies out there that they took a bunch of money from investors. They did IPOs. They went into the market. They lost not millions, billions of dollars, billions with the P's, and oh by God. They lost, and now we're coming into industrial hemp saying we can make a bunch of money, and they are saying, hell no, I don't trust you. Trust is not there. And another thing is trust is not there because a bunch of pretenders are out there saying, I'm an expert, I'm an expert, I'm an expert. Honestly, Mandi, I'm not an expert. I am not. The only thing I did is, that's why we are promoting the systems that we promote is, I think it like close to 450,000 miles on my United account last year traveling. I went to China, Asia, Europe. I visited, you have no idea how many manufacturers and facilities just to find out, okay, this is what you're doing. If you're doing great, at least for the fiber facility, this is what we are. This is the company that we represent. Let's do the partnership. And we have an agreement to represent that exclusive agreement because we were looking for the best equipment, the best manufacturer, the best process. But when it comes to fiber, oh my God, I see people that are trying to do a dual crop or the tri-crop. They think they're going to grow hemp fiber and get some fiber and then some floral material and the cola. So they're going to sell the smokable flower. They're going to get the floral material to extraction, and then I'm like, you're not getting good fiber. And the potency of that floral material sucks. You're going to take 100 pounds or maybe 120 pounds to get 1 kilo crude oil. For the prices that right now are selling, it's a waste of time. And you're a smokable flower.
It's a bad name for our customers because we're putting poor quality flour out there or poor quality fiber out there. And yeah, it's
that's not poor, even, mentioning poor quality, just quality and fiber at the same time on the same, it's not, because the lignins are going to get too hard, too brutal, so you will never get long technical fiber, which means you will never get it into textiles. You're only going to have short fiber, which is okay. The herd, you're always going to be able to use the herd. But honestly, if we are into this to make money, because the investors that are coming, and by the way, guys, if you hate me because I'm saying this, the investors that are going to put money, they want their money back as some return. You think I'm doing this just because of the heck of the planet? No, we're doing this because we want to make money. And if you're here just to, someone else out there listening to me and say, I don't like Vini because he only think about money. Listen, how you pay your bills, how you pay your mortgage, how you pay your car.
As much as I want to say that I'm in this because I'm passionate about it, and I am, and that's why I've been able to be successful, I feel like, right? And you and I kind of talked earlier about the people that are in it only for the money and the people that are only in it for the plant. There has to be balance. And like it or not, you don't join or sign up or start a business. That's a hobby. You either do it to make money and you create a business, or it's a hobby. And if you're going to make a business out of it, it's a different practice. And like you said, it's a matter of doing it right and setting it up correctly.
There's a company in Colorado, the first, I guess the second round, they collected $65 million for CBD oil. We're talking about 65 million. It requires big pockets of money in order to be able to build something that is good, that is a GMP certified, the European standards, that you fulfill the ISO certifications, that your equipment is going to be UL, that your equipments are going to have all this CAGMP certification. I mean, all of that, it requires money and experience and expertise. And you honestly, trust me, you don't want your high school pockets running your labs. You want engineers, chemists, or guys with really knowledge, because that's what you need. And when it comes to the fiber facility, Mandi, I'm sorry, the facility that we're promoting, we requires at least $25 million investment. And for 1 year, you know how much money is coming in? Zero, nothing. It takes a year to build a facility, a year to build a building. So, and then working with the farmers or with a co-op or with someone. So it will take you 14, 16, 17 months to start getting some money, revenue. Mm-hmm. So it requires serious money. And the only way to get serious investors into this is, showing that we are someone that they can trust. And so far, the industry
has failed us.
Just listen to me. I believe in this. I'm the owner and the COO for Global Hemp Solutions. We sell dryers, shredders. I mean, we are into this. Chromatography, we have them. Fiber, we have them. And the money that I am making from this, I am investing it into another company that I am building. The trust is not there. And people ask me, why don't you do it? Because it requires a lot more money. I require millions of dollars in order to build something like that. If I had $25 million, I will do it in a heartbeat. And trust me, the first one that does it, they will be doing, if they do it properly. But if they do the small decortication, there's a company in Colorado doing the small decortication systems, and they collect now. They realize, they're not buying it. So we're doing collectors of dust. It's okay, but when you see their videos out there, this is not industrial hemp. This is not industrial hemp. I mean, if this is industrial hemp, I'd rather walk out and say, I'm not going to do it. That's what I'm.
I think you said it well, right? There's been this, even now when I talk about hemp and I talk about industrial hemp, people immediately say, oh, you smoke? No, that has nothing to do with it, right? It's a very different product, and it's a different system, even down to the education, right? Do you think a lot of the people that are trying to do it are tippy-toeing in with the sense that I'm just going to do it until something bigger comes along? Or really is this an idea that they think this is the solution and these small decorticators everywhere will then suffice? I mean, I've seen that so far, even in the extraction space. There's been a lot of small extraction units or extraction facilities that have been put up that have either failed because it's not cost effective as prices have dropped, or they're just not able to produce the volume to compete.
I'm a numbers guy, so always my mind is always working numbers. So I invest in this, so I'll do this. So when someone asks me for questions, I always ask, okay, let's say it's oil again. Let's go back to oil. Then we go back to fiber. It doesn't matter. Someone says, okay, Vini, I have $2 million here. Should I invest into an extraction? And I'm the one selling equipment for extraction. And I said, no. I said, no. Why? Listen, you want to build a facility that is going to be a good one, you have to do it GMP, and you have to do it European GMP, because you want to sell to pharmaceutical companies in Europe. Those are the guys that are paying. That's what Canada and Uruguay are selling to Europeans. That's where the money is. As a matter of fact, right now, as this moment, if someone has a European GMP certified lab here in the US selling crude oil to the Europe, they are getting close to 4,000, maybe up to $6,000 per kilo of crude oil.
Wow.
You have to have a European certified GMP facility. I said, listen, do you have that access? No. Okay, so with $2 million, forget about it. You're not going to be able to do it properly because, GMP, the 5 Ps, people, persons, process, products, and premises. So forget about it. You don't have that. So it will take you 4 to 5 months to build a facility if you want to do it way in the countryside where there is no regulations. The fire marshal are going to go over there and say, I don't care, you can explode, you can die, I don't care, because it's not within the city limits. People does that, Andy, and I'm okay with that. But it will take you 6 months to build it. 6 months from now, we have no idea where the prices are going to be. And you will require, and I said, for doing it something that is valuable, you require that maybe $1.5 million to do that. It's better to buy cheap crude oil right now. If you show them the money, the sellers out there, they're going to give you crude oil for $75 per kilo or something. You buy it. Then buying a molecular distillation is a lot easier. 2-stage, even if the crude oil that you buy is crap, pardon my French, then you buy a 3-stage molecular distillation. You refine it from 45% to 85, maybe 90%, and then you sell the distillate at a better price without investing too much money in equipment. And if the prices in 6 months went down the drain even further, how much money you have invested? Nothing. You just bought crude oil, you put it in a warehouse, sold it, and that's it. That's because I'm not thinking about selling equipment. I'm thinking about doing the best for my client. And sometimes the clients don't understand that. And I say, if you have $10-12 million, then let's build something really nice that's going to be GMP and GMP. You're going to have chromatography. You're going to have a lot better, because we want consistent formulation. And right now, the products, I don't care who is selling the products. None of the products out there with CBD oil, none, they have no idea what consistent formulation means. Even though they try, they will never get it, because the biomass is different. The extraction process was different. Even if you're using the same farmer, the same extraction equipment, at the end, your products, none, zero, no product has consistent formulation. And imagine this, man, you're going to buy a Coke and sometimes tastes like this, sometimes, who's going to be buying that product? You go to McDonald's, it doesn't matter where in the country you buy it, it tastes the same. The Big Mac sauce is exactly the same. Then sometimes it will be a little bit more bitter, sometimes a little bit more sweeter. So that's not, and people want us, the CBD industry, or the hemp industry, to take it seriously. This is a joke. We need to really do something industrial with consistent formulation. And in order to do it, you need chromatography. You need at least, just in chromatography equipment alone, you need $5 million. And then you come with, of course, yeah, if you want to buy I'm not saying something bad about China, because they can build great products, Mandi. Whether people like it or not, they can build great things. Most likely the computer that you're using was built in China. The TV you were watching Netflix last night was built in China. The phone was built in, so they can build great things. So people buy an extraction system, a centrifuge, and they pay $40,000 for that extraction and a couple more things. That's a joke. No, I'm not saying those systems will not work. They can work if you do the right things. And but once you do it like that, you have to do it the right way.
Right way. Well, and again, otherwise you're just throwing your money away.
And that's why fiber,
cost effective. You're not producing enough to be in with a buyer that's going to buy bulk or volume at the rate you're wanting. It's this whole cycle, right? And as the industry's grown, I've seen more and more business practices come into the industry, where before, like you said, it was, we've graduated from the black market, small scale in our garage, to trying to run a business and not really running the business around business practices or like you said, scalable practices.
Some of them, I've seen them, because, some of them, the investors come to me and I say, Vini, can you do an analysis, an assessment on this offer that I'm getting? I said, yeah. Let me see what your cost is. Andy, by the way, can I share something here with you on the screen or not? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to do this. I'm pretty sure you're going to love it. You'll see this. You're able to see that Excel spreadsheet. Okay, yes. Okay, so people say, what is the cost? And they always think about a couple of things. So it's a complete full project that I did. We're talking about they were using a multiple row harvester and single row harvester. But let me show you. This is the data. I know how many plants per hour, blah, 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 how many total acres I can harvest per day. Then the shredder, the dryer, the separator, the extraction, blah, blah, blah.
Wow. Awesome.
Look at this. I know how many, what is the cost of ethanol on the extraction system because I know how many liters are we going to be using, the evaporation recovery, the cost per liter, because we're using two systems. This is the cost on a daily basis. This is only on extraction. The liquid nitrogen, the gas for the steamers, electrical, then for the dryers, for the solar.
So that's your cost daily, Vinny?
Yeah, but this is facility. This is one facility. It's not mine. I hope I can show the. But this is what I'm talking about. This is serious. You need to consider this. No one that was doing this in the backyard or in their, in their garage, they have no idea what this is. This is a business, so I know how much it's going to cost me, how many operators, all of this, every single thing. You need to know all this data. You're going to be able to produce a cash flow. I mean, everything. You cannot just. I mean, you cannot just do this. Oh yeah, this. I don't know how.
Well, and you have to look at it too, Vinny, when it comes to people that are in this and looking to get into it for a real business, understanding that part of it.
And it's sad. The majority of people, when you ask them what is your cost, they say, okay, the biomass, it cost me this, and that's it. Where's your electricity, your accounting, your IT, your taxes that you have to pay, the CPA? I mean, all those, because they were used to do that in their garage. No CPA, no nothing, all the cash in one pocket, the other cash from another pocket. They don't know how much money they know they were making good money. But of course, but those days are gone, man. Again, imagine if people were selling it for $16,000 a kilo of crude oil. You were selling 4 or 6 or 10 kilos of crude oil. It was $150 a month. How much can you expend? And if they grow their own biomass, it was zero expenses. So those days are gone, long gone. Since last year, at the beginning of the year, those days are gone. They're not going to come. When I was talking about those systems, let me give you an example of how important is industrial or engineering background. Our system, the 1,500 liters, we were using chillers to bring down the temperature of the micella in order to do the winterization process. And winterization process is just a fancy word to say, get rid of the fats, the lipids, and the water. I thought we're using too much electricity, 274 kilowatts per hour. And I was telling we need to go a little bit different efficiency. So we changed from that to liquid nitrogen. When I was telling liquid nitrogen 2 years ago, people were saying, no, you don't need that. We went from 274 kilowatts per hour. We brought it down to 61 kilowatts per hour.
Whoa.
That's efficiency.
Power. Yeah.
Every single hour, you were saving 211 kilowatts per hour. And if people think about, I'm a numbers guy. Yeah, 211 kilowatts times 8 cents, 9 cents per kilowatt, 24/7, 30 days a week, 365. That's money. But I didn't do that only on the electricity for the chillers because now they're going to say, yeah, but you could be using liquid nitrogen. Yes, I know that. But I mean, you're doing that on every single aspect of your process. You do that on your biomass. That's why we promote the separators, because then you don't put the stalks and the stems and the seeds for extraction. You take a separator. Yeah, but your separator is going to be costing $175,000. Yes, but you're going to get rid of all the stalks and stems that you are just putting in your extraction system, wasting time and process, and you will get no cannabinoids. And another thing is this. When you get a kilo of crude oil, when you have using only floral material, then the potency of your crude oil goes to 75, 78%. You can sell it for a lot better. If you put the stalks and stems and the seeds because you put it out there, your kilo of crude oil, you do it properly, might be 58 potency. So the difference of one product and the other one is huge. And again, efficiencies. Almost every single area, you have to do that. But the only way to do it is if you have the engineering background or the business background or the chemical background. I mean, that's what we needed if we want to consider this industrial hemp. Otherwise, it's just homemade products. But that's not, I'm not interested in this. Into this. Fiber, the only way I will jump into fiber is if someone comes and build a facility with $25 million. Let's do it properly. Small systems, someone out there, they're building houses maybe, and they want just a very small system to decorticate, to process, extract the thoughts, to do some bricks because he's going to build 1 or 2 houses a year. Good for him. Congratulations. That is not industrial hemp. This is Vini Villatoro, and I approve this. That's not industrial.
Okay, so Rob, real quick, says hello. Rob Haslam says, "Hey, friend."
Hey, Rob. Rob is amazing. Hey, hey, Rob, man. This guy is amazing. He's serious. He knows what I'm talking about.
See? Okay, so I've got a question because everything you're saying is right in line with where I'm at. When we talk about money coming in for investors or money coming in for the industrial hemp, it really is going to take a big capital injection, and it's not going to be it's a long play investment, right? It's not a put money in and quick grab out, like you said. It's a big build, and even then, once you have the facility, it's the farmers then have to be educated that they have a place to sell their product, right? You almost have to create this package and work with either co-ops or state and rural communities to fill the need and the supply. Talk to me real quick, and we're about out of time, but when I try to explain to people the difference in the bast versus the herd and the fiber, or decorticating versus taking to the facility, what does it look like? The farmers grow, and then it's cut in the field and baled like hay, or tell me kind of walk me through this process a little bit, as we're putting together facilities for the textile space, like I said, or construction. Walk our listeners kind of through what that looks like.
A big question that I always have is this, Vini, when you send us a quote for the equipment, it's only $12 million. How come when we talk about everything? Thank you very much, Justin. God bless you.
Passion plus data. Successful business.
Okay. Man, I lost my train of thought. Thank you very much, Justin. God bless you. You put a big smile on my face, as you can see.
The breakdown of the different types of.
Okay, yeah. So they say, how come the quote is $12 million, but when we talk about the whole business and do a joint venture with you, you always talk about $25 million. And I say, okay. The reason why is this. The idea that I have is we don't want the farmers to pay or buy their seeds. The idea is that we will give them the seeds. We will give them the SOPs. We will guide them, hand in hand, work with them, with a co-op, just to tell them this is the way, because it's not only about growing. We need to tell them exactly when to harvest, because we don't want the lignums to harden too much, because we want that fiber, the long technical fiber, we want it to be able to be cottonizable. We can compete with that, because that's what we want. So the idea will be give them everything, guide them to the point that we know exactly when to harvest, how to harvest it, and let it red properly. Because they have to pay nothing. They already have everything, everything to grow it. And they know that the hemp has the phytoremediation ability. So after whatever we grow, whatever they're going to grow after that, they're going to have a lot better yields. So they're happy. We read them. It's in bales. We have to use square bales because it's a lot easier than round bales for when you're talking about the straw. The idea is they come to us and we will pay them a certain price. We're talking about close to $200 per ton of straw. We think that the farmers can get 4 tons per acre easy, and a lot less water, no pesticides, no herbicides, phytoremediation, blah, blah, blah. So when they come to us,
that's competitive price with alfalfa, isn't it?
Yeah. And remember,
but less pesticides, less the.
Yes, it is. But the nice thing is with the phytoremediation ability, whatever they're going to be growing after that, they have better yields. So they're not only, and of course, we're paying for the seeds. They're not doing anything. So we want to buy the straw from them, and we want to show them how to red it properly, because we want the best fiber possible. In Europe,
Right.
people are paying close to $160 per ton of straw. In Europe, the idea that we are promoting to pay them up to $200 because we want to take away their idea that they can grow a dual crop. If they do a dual crop, basically what they're going to have is dual crap, and it's not a typo or they're going to have crappy fiber and crappy floral material for extraction. So don't do that. If we pay them an extra incentive, $40 per ton, the idea is that they're going to buy from us. They're going to come from us, and we're going to buy it outright. We don't want to do splits and stuff like that. That method is not good for the farmers. And if the idea that we're trying to help the farmers, we have to do it right. And that means the farmer comes, and this, we don't want to do it like a tobacco company. I've seen people that they grow tobacco, they go and deliver it. I'm not going to mention the names of the companies. And after 8 months, they're still waiting to get paid for the tobacco that they drop with those. No, please, that's even worse than slavery.
Agreed, right? And where I've seen a lot of people being taken advantage of is on the farm side,
yes.
right? If we don't take care of our farmers, ultimately we don't have a crop. And
yes.
so
and we need them.
Yeah. And it secures that you as the processor are getting quality products, right? It's
the key. That's the key, because we want the humidity to be 8 and 12%. That's what we want. We need to tell them exactly how to read it, when to harvest them, because that's the key. If you don't have good, crap in, crap out. But if we get gold from the farmers, you're going to get some nice diamonds if you can. If you allow me for the analogy. Of course, I know that you cannot create diamonds from gold, guys.
I'll try. I'll give it a shot.
Well, thank you very much, Mandi.
Yeah, I could spend hours talking to you and learning. I just think that it's fascinating. And as much as you say people aren't going to like what I have to say, I love it because it's real and it's the reality of where we're at. And I think that that's what the value is in having a relationship with someone like you is let's talk real talk. There's a lot of, fluff and butterflies out there and everybody promises a lot, but it really is the reality of it. And if I'm talking about my passion of moving this industry along and creating sustainable supply chains, it has to be real talk. And so I appreciate you very much. And I appreciate the honesty and the numbers.
Do you understand why I told you that I was busy by choice? Because I'm only busy when I decided, because the majority of times people are talking those unicorns that they have thousands of acres and they have these. Get serious. And honestly, the most important thing is the buyers, who's going to be buying your product. And so far, very few people are buying CBD oil. Don't let me get into that, but CBD oil, we're selling it legally, but it's not legal because the FDA hasn't approved that. So anything that you put in your mouth should be approved by the FDA. So whatever we're doing is not legal, but we are getting by. I'm not against that. But as soon as the FDA gives the approval with seal of approval, then you'll see the prices are going to go up. But only the facilities that are ISO, GMP certified, only those guys are going to survive. And trust me, the podcasts are not going to be able to survive with the GMP because they have no idea what an SOP is and they don't know how to follow it. And people say, what's the deal with the SOPs? And I told them, I came to visit your facility, right? So you have to have an SOP when a visitor comes to the facility. You have to write, documents, every single thing. Those guys, they know how to run a business. They have never been in a manufacturing facility. They don't know how to take in, the inventory. We need to get serious, Mandi, but I really appreciate this. So if we need to do this every other, just let me know when. I'm happy to jump into this.
I love it.
Thank you very much for the time. I really appreciate it.
I'd love to too. I may call you, draw you in on a conversation or offer some opportunities. I've got a number of people that are very passionate and looking to build facilities and just being able to, even if it's hey, this isn't working for me or pass them off. I'd love to build the relationship and continue because we need more of you and more facilities exactly like this. I'm a little bit taken. I'm not about the number of facilities I do it, the math in my head that we actually need to be able to sustain this market. And so
that is what I show you the Excel spreadsheet. So you see that numbers are important in order to make a decision.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much, Mandi.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Have a good day. See you later, guys.